cause media lazima ikuwe balanced but sasa nyinyi kama mmekuwa mkienda hapo I'd say like political analysts so what do you think is going to happen? Do you think that we can change the average Kenyan mind to know that politics is important? So now wacha tubonge juu ya one of the things that ilifanya saa mi nikakujua that's politics.
Maandamano
and maandamano ilikuwa interesting because tuko nashindwa like who's this guy who just shows up in a suit. So ulienda gani kwanza? Which day did you go?
Zote
ulienda ya 18th 18th was the first one.
Yes.
Okay. So but now interestingly enough before that tubonge juu ya 18th ulikuwa nasema that the week before you'd had the same suicidal
Friday. So there's Friday over here. I was found on a rooftop 10th floor.
Wapi kwa
apartment yetu. Yeah, I was with a noose on my neck and I remember what had happened.
You live on each floor?
Afande.
This story is
Afande, please.
This story is Afande. But
yeah. But
because I feel like with Nini kama hiyo it's too risky.
No, yeah, for sure. Yes, for sure. But barely home. I'm never home, so okay. in and out. But that night I remember I even drove around and I had the noose on my neck. And I went to fuel because I wanted to do it on like a street tree and drive off and just
watch movie naitwa nini? Because I saw that on a Japanese movie called Outrage.
I don't watch movies, by the way.
You don't watch movies?
Yeah, I'm not.
There's someone who does that, but it's not. No, they don't do that. It's the Yakuza. They murder someone that way.
Oh, okay.
So they drag him au mdrag alafu wanaeka mawe kwa accelerator. So wamefunga shingo kwa nini? Like it's not such an iconic scene.
Yeah.
Like damn.
Right. So nakumbuka I was feeling at a Rubis and the attendant, so nikalipa in advance. The attendant came and he saw and nakumbuka alishtuka akataka kuita wasa. I drove off. I've never driven off so fast because I was also embarrassed.
Ukosheka noose.
So nilikuwa natembea ndio niji-convince that this is a dumb idea. I tied it kabisa and nilikuwa like maybe the pain will near me. But it never did. I tried driving to a friend's house. I forgot where they lived. Came back and I was like, man. Told my friends, listen, I don't want to do this. Because also, I'd met my friends and they told me, because we had lost a friend and they were like, Kaz, the way I'm looking at you, you don't look okay. So these babes tell me, tell us Nini. I was like, I'm struggling, but I'm doing my best. I remember I even went to a hospital, asked to see a doctor, asked to get drugs, Nini to calm me down. Didn't work out. I called friends and I told them, I'm really struggling tonight, man. It feels like the end and whatnot. Yeah, so by the time it was happening, I was like, man, sour. It looks like it's the night. So I tied the thing, Nini, but also the body was so tired by the time they're coming, because I also was smoking up on the rooftop. I was like, once I'm done with this thing, I just fall off. So in the process, I fell asleep on the place.
Yeah, you fall asleep easily.
Yes, place. So I sit down and I remember I was just crying. So I lied down to cry or thinking about how beautiful life has been. And Nini, I'm just reminiscing, I'm thinking. And then I fell asleep. And so by the time I think my friends came, I was unconscious and whatnot. So that's Friday. They've now stayed in my house. It was around 8 times. Yeah, and then maandamano inatokea Tuesday, maze.
So nini likupatia guts za kwenda maandamano? Like, why did you feel like I need to do this? Because I'm assuming you're still not there.
I was just like, yeah, no, for sure. But I was like, one last thing for my country. And my friends also were going for it. And I was like, yeah, let me also return a favor. So the first one I went with my friends. And most of what I was doing is I was just chilling with them and ensuring, this is safe. Come, let's go this side. And then my pal, my homeboy was Machiruto recorded the iconic tear gas video that trended, and then I think a few photos when I talked to the press. Mi nilikuwa natafuta maandamano that day. Nilikuwa naitafuta apparently, and then I hear I'm trending, and then I'm like, oh yeah, fine. Yeah, so after that now it felt as though something had been awakened, because we realized that we achieved something. So we did a thing, and I was like, yeah. Then I realized I'd stumbled into something much bigger at play than what I thought I'd signed up for.
Okay.
I'd also just been I've always been a demonstrator. I'm a serial protester where I want things to just work. Did end femicide, demonstrated, led a lot of strikes in campus. So it wasn't a first.
Okay. And the 25th, ilikupata wapi? 25th Summer nilikuwa Tao. That was the first time I came for the protest. So sisi tulikuwa hizi sides za tulianza na Loiter. Then did Koinange. Did hizo tu streets. And then at around 2 when we heard that people had stormed Parliament.
Watu wanaanza kubreach
wamebreach Parliament around 2:30. Si tukadecide kutoka Tao.
Imekuwa dangerous.
So it's even been one of those controversial topics where, because normally nikiona when a guy though is criticizing Boni, he criticizes him based on that, and I'm there like I was one of the first people to go on sisi, like we are like 4 friends, 3 in their 40s, 1 in his 30s. We were like fuck it, it's time to go home. Na tukaishia. So I don't feel like it's like I didn't feel like dying makes the cause more, you understand?
So, people talk about revolutions being built on blood until it's time for their blood. A lot of these people who up never seen them on the streets. Boni has always been on the streets. I met first time I met him was this recent Mandamano where he was arrested. Was that last week? Yes, last week Thursday. That's the first time I've met Boni as an activist.
Okay.
But then there was stories, there was Nini, but you see that man, that's a courageous man, bro. People are trying to spin stories about Boni, about Hussein, about Akina. And also it's the first time I met the whole ring. I met Akina Hussein, Akina Hanifa, and Akina Shakira as protesters. Because when you also we were just at the place, Shad anachukuliwa leo saizi, then I walk in like 10-15 minutes later. So there's that thing where I'm like, hey, let's not stay alone, that's so be still down there, nini. And then people are calling us, are you safe? So I'm like, I've been told by some of my friends wako inside ingine. But I look at Boni, man, just based on what I've seen him, the amount of activism he's done, even activation during this time, what he was doing, bro, was coming from a point of selflessness. You can see, yes, he's afraid as well, but he chooses courage over fear.
That's why he calls it team courage, because every day
au makarao, bro, walikuwa wana brutalize huo msee, walikuwa wanamhanda, hata like you see him shaking when he's saying kwa nini unavaa mask. You see a guy like Hussein, tumeka hivi, tumepanic mbaya because tumezungukwa. Mazee Hussein anaamua kuchoma hii kitu. Hussein anatoa mask ya karao. Si ya karao ya guns wanajiita makarao. Mbona unavaa mask toa? So you see them try to beat him up. But then the previous Tuesday, I'd met such a courageous young man called Shujaa Kinuthia. And alikuwa one of his, if you see a guy in a suit has been brutalized by cops, anapigwa kofi nini. Alikataa bishta yake ingizwe kwa hiyo lori. So in my head I was like, oh, so you can do that. Akaniambia, never fear. Never fear, this country belongs to us. Nikaona wakijaribu kuchukua Hussein.
Because kuna ile ni Wanjira, she said when we lose our
fear, they lose their power. Tuliona wakijaribu kuchukua Hussein hivi. The exact amwendi wanirusha kando, tukarudi tukamshika, wakatukanyaga, wakavunja shit zangu. Hakuna pali Hussein anaenda. Because also when you leave home, you're like, yeah, we're trying to effect change, but we're like, Hussein was telling me, wali agree, nobody should get arrested. So ukiingia on the ground uone kitu hao sewa wanafanya. With the families, the people who are there, unakaivi. So whenever I see people dragging these people, I'm like, shit. I will never participate in slander, in Boni slander, in Hussein slander, Hanifa, bruh, count me out. It's a hill I'm willing to die on.
There's something that Boni said, that every time you go for a protest, you're never sure you're coming back. Yes. So there's always that, like you're never sure. Hata sisi tukiwa Tao, because tulingiaga Tao. Remember, Gasi, I just went on the 25th.
Yes.
Na vile tulingia tu Tao hivi. Tear gas looks very interesting on TV.
Kwa video, yes.
In real life, that is loud and scary.
And it explodes. Iko na moto kiasi.
Sindio watu wamelose mikono. Like cops have lost their hands and like it's serious. But then talking of slander, there was ile time sasa ulikuwa abducted. And ikakuwa like msee amekuaje abducted na akatokea na his normal suit. So let's go back to that. Which date was this?
Tuesday we stormed Parliament.
You 25th? So where
Tuesday
were you?
Guys breach Parliament. Nilikuwa Tao the whole day.
Ulishikiwa Tao ama ulishikiwa home?
Outside Tao. Nikishatoka Tao nimetoka ku activate All Saints. I met a pal of mine, Jana. I was like, I'm so glad you're safe. Because I was leaving and there were people who were trailing you and they just looked off place. And I felt so validated because nilikuwa like, hakuna vile mimi mwenda wazimu bana. Kuna vile nilimagine story. Nilikuwa natembea, but now when I was leaving, I left I drove off. So mazee, I live with a friend and I'm like, oh mazee, it's very tricky. Then a probox with armed people is tailing us up on Ngong Road. Then now we drive off and then I say, hey mazee, chukua this car. I'll give you the car at some point. I wanted to go with him to the hideout, but nilikuwa too like, no, I wouldn't want anybody to know where my safe place is. Because remember, previous week I'd been harassed by Karaos. So at plain clothes, anytime naingia hivi tao, plain clothes wanadu hiyo kitu, wanaanza kurusha mawe place yenye tuko ikaeni kama tuna vandalize.
Yes,
so tunahepa nini. So I'm taking on Tuesday night, fast forward. So I give the friend the car. I'm like, wait, you take the car from here, I'll make one call and then I need my phone, azima my phone. So I make the call, then I'm taken. So I was taken on Tuesday. So Tuesday night,
ulishiki wapi?
Around Karen area.
Yeah.
Greater Karen, Bogani sides.
Kumeenda hizo sides?
Nilikuwa nimeenda hizo sides, nipige long route, niambie mse anikamia nichukue aniseti. So yeah, it happens mazee. Tuesday night niko tu hiyo place mazee, and then kwa kichwa yangu, to be fair, I don't know,
cause najua they wrap your head.
Yes.
So you was like, what could you remember? Cause I remember talking to Crazy Nairobian.
Yeah.
Na alikuwa nasema I felt like aliwekwa kwa bafu. Hakuwa sure where he was. He just remembers like ilikuwa karum kadogo na alikuwa na feel nikaa ni bafu ama choo. Haikuwa inaanduka mavi.
Sita kudanganya niko na scope. Haikuwa place chafu, but it was also like, it was just a karum. I don't have scope for it.
Yeah.
But the thing that worried me the most is the fact that nilikuwa like, wase watanimada, alafu waseme he was suicidal, so he was found. That was my biggest worry kwa kitu yote. So by the time azaya sana niachilia, so grill like nini nani.
So which date?
Wednesday.
So you
I come back.
one night.
I come back to the live. I come back to life on Thursday. But Wednesday nilikuwa paranoid as hell. Because also the way it happened, because there's a lot of social media pressure and nini, and people are asking and looking. And part of my, like even some of my mentors, one of them described to me that they had, and I'm not sure I have freedom to disclose this, but one of them had said that they had almost figured out where I was, and one of like his security people had went and they had seen me, those kinds of things. Like I'll be very, very abstract about it, because again, I don't owe anyone this thing. And then part of even the list of people who are supposed to be released that had been filed with High Court that talked about that need my name. So there was a lot of pressure from like really high places, to be fair. So suddenly naachiliwa on Wednesday. During the day it was like 11ish, mid-morning, noon.
Okay, so at least like they didn't stay with you for long.
Mine was just Tuesday into Wednesday. And then sami nikaingia kichaka kasema hakuna vile hiki tu imeplay out too so perfectly, because I remember texting chairman wa LSK nikiwaambia, chair lady wa LSK nikiwaambia, hey chair, I've escaped, I'm safe. And then I texted my dad nikamwambia, don't worry, I'm safe, but sikusema anything more. So I called my mentor, I'm like, please get me out, niko hapa hivi OTND sides, niko hapa kama nichukue. Nikamwambia, akaniambia mazee, do hivi, your phone is bagged, fanya hizo star 29 siju star what zima hiyo kitu izimie hapa, you're not gonna be online. So after now the president speaks on Wednesday, nini looks like it's safe. Then now on Thursday, now I'm mad. I'm like, no, if guys are still going to the streets, because also guys were saying don't go to the streets, it's gonna be a bloodbath, because Thursday ilikuwa siku ya Occupy State House.
Yes.
The second time people occupy State House. But mi nikasema sema online, nikakimbia home, nika change, because I was in like they got me some clothes za nyumbani. I got into the house, my family is like, you just got here maze baki. I'm like, if you're gonna convince people, you have to be boots on the ground, because mimi sijawahi shy away from it. Kasema kama tutaenda, kama tutaamua kuretreat tuta-retreat. So I get in there maze, KASMUEL, because the media had always seen me and had known me. What I come, it's a thing now that became synonymous to me, where it's just the media. So I do an interview and guys are like, what do you mean amerudi tu kama hit the ground running? I was like, it's very damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I'm very clear in my head about what I want for my country. And I'm like, whatever it takes, I'll power through the noise, the bullying, the whatever. I don't care.
Okay. And Nini, what power do you think the fact that recently nimekuwa nikiwaona like a lot of young minds on mainstream TV, do you think this might help us in the long run? Because I feel like this is such a breath of fresh air, the fact that right now we have people who can openly criticize the government and they are not politicians. Because ile ingine ilikuwaga you can't openly criticize because media lazima ikuwe balanced. But sasa nyinyi kama mmekuwa mkienda hapo, I'd say like political analysts. So what do you think is going to happen? Do you think that we can change the average Kenyan mind to know that politics is important?
I firmly believe so. Na hiyo kazi civic education na happen tu Nairobi peke yake. Also nyumbani wamejanjaruka mbaya. Watu Nairobi ndio walivotia clowns, walivotia Kidero, walivotia Sonko, walivotia watu wa Nairobi ndio wanavotingi kama mafala. Civic education ta happen tu hapa. Nani PLO aliwaivai, Boni aliwaivai, Okio Mtata aliwaivai. When Okio went home, si walimvotia.
PLO vied for what?
For I think MP Kamkunji. At some point.
I don't remember that.
At some point I think aliwaivai Kamkunji akadundishwa mbaya. So those kinds of things when you see it, even because also I'm very big on talking to people on ground. Mimi naingianga hivi mazee wasaki nisimamisha wako like kwanza, even like Buddha guys around my area wako like tuambie kitu, niko like the reason tunafanya hiki kitu ni atusemi tunaamka kugombea kiti. Of course bado people wako na hiyo kitu wana feel like if you're eloquent or if you're position, they feel like you're posturing. And I'm like maisha yangu
what's wrong with that?
Me sina shida. If there's one thing which I will not shy away from is eventually I will get into politics. I will get into politics because I've not seen the politician I want to see. Nani atakuwa hiyo politician? People are just like, 200. I'm like, but I've done politics in campus and I've won. So I know a thing or two about how to deal with people at a political level.
Technical University ulikuwa?
Nilikuwa leader of Congress.
Leader of Congress.
Mimi nilikuwa huo mzee.
So how do you get the leader of Congress? You have
unakuwa so first you do a school, you become a school representative, and then now you have to lobby of the people who've won. Sasa hapo unacheza politics one ya ground elective, alafu sasa mkiwa hapa ego zimevimba, una have to convince kwa sababu mlikuwa speaker really, you have to convince the Congress that you're worth leading them. Inaenda secret ballot. Hey brother, nakanga hivi chini niko like siasa naweza piga siasa mbaya sana. And I actually will, just not now. I just don't think this is anything worth politicizing. This revolution is not part of gaining political mileage. But nakanga hivyo chini and niko tu like I will, because I want to be the kind of politician I've always dreamed of seeing. Like as a legislator nitaingia hapa nifanye hizo changes zote zinashinda nikisema, because there are very good people who just talk and they don't want to hit the ground running. So I've never shied away from the idea that yes, I can be a politician, but it's not on this movement. On this movement, I'm not Juati a Gen Z leader. I'm a leader in my own right. I would not shy away from the fact that there's some heavy leadership skills in me, and that's why I've gotten to the point where I've gotten. I did Young African Leaders Initiative. I did that Be Good Fellowship, which was like highly competitive. But right now, whatever it is that we're doing it for the country. When the time to politicize comes, and it will, bro, tapiga siasa hapa hivi mtaamini.
Okay. Once ataka kurana wapi?
It has to be Nairobi. I don't want to be on. Of course, people are like, kimbia enda ushago ufanye nini. I don't want to be those guys that is GNMP.
Kusapa pia uzuri unajulikana.
Yes, that. It could be Nairobi or it could be nationally. What prevents me from running nationally? And for me, it's just running. Whether I win or lose, I will try. If as in, I won't half-ass it. Like, if you time, I will do whatever it takes to ensure that, part of this change that we've been clamoring for, we actually now have good systems and good people working in those systems.
Because I've been saying it, like last week I watched Kibe, and Kibe was saying we need Gen Z needs leaders, and I've also been saying the same. So nili notice kuna pali kuna nasema leadership haihitajiki. I think reason to why tunasema juu leadership is I felt like after the 25th, I felt like tuko tunafaa to get our foot off the pedal for a few weeks, and then we go back.
Okay.
Nilifeel ni kama tukiendelea ili end up ikifanya the government to try and figure it out. So now they knew this was predictable. We can hire goons on Thursday,
We're infiltrating
destroy things.
Yeah.
We can hire, but ile ingine ilikuwa like after 25th tungekaa kidogo.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd have hired goons immediately.
Wangepata hiyo chance.
Wangesema tu after by the time tungewa threaten next so since to reject. Yeah, so that's why I feel like leadership is needed.
Leadership is and I don't think it is to be conflated with leaders. The whole, you can't have a leader or leaders for the whole movement.
Yes.
If you look at it, ikitu iko na leaders. The people who mobilize at community level, who are they? The comrades who decide, the comrades around them decide, okay, fine, you give us a plan. Because it is, and that's why I've always insisted that there's a leading idea that's stronger than everybody else. Watu wenye wanaandikanga letters, people in different parts of the country. Asi wote wanaandikangi, ukiandikia polisi letter wanaandikangi anonymously.
Yes.
Unaandikanga it is I nini. Umejitokeza. But that's your contribution to the movement. I don't know where people got this narrative that if one person now, it seems as though they're the one who are being propped, people are being propped. I'm like, imagine if 100 of us did that.
Yeah.
If 100 people just came up, bro, it is unbeatable. Fidel Castro akiranio kitu yake anasema alianza race na watu ngapi 85 but anafeel angeifanya na watu 15. Kama mimi nimekuwa nikifanya hizi kitu man solo, can you imagine if I had a team of 10 people who believed in this? And that's actually where it needs to go now. Find people who are around you. Surround yourself with people who believe in this thing so well. Because again, when we keep on doing this, we know that if you're starting a revolution, the government will counter it by infiltration. We know it, kabisa. So we can't now start crying that, oh, it's been infiltrated. We can't afford to be found unprepared. So that's why, but the advantage of the movement is in its amorphous nature. Ujui utanini wapi kwa sababu ukishika watu Nairobi, Kitengela, watu ukishika Kitengela, Kitale, wapi, Shimala, wherever. So leaders will emerge and they're emerging. Nakwambia kuna wasewa noma mwafu. It's just that they're not making it on the screens. And at this point, just depending because also it's leaderless, hakuna mtu atanikazia anifunze how to participate in the revolution. Mi nitaka chini ni feel this is the direction I want to take. Even people try to tell me, oh, don't go here, don't go there, don't do this. I was like, the thing I will lend to the movement is my voice.
Okay.
Nikasema nitachapa kote. There's someone who's has a different talent, nini education, the whatnot, the briefs, but kuna hiyo unajua it's a new thing but also people are uncertain of it, that kind of thing. So if you're a person in the movement, give the movement your best contribution.
Okay.
Organize it as well. So there's still that form of organization as much you're moving away from it, because consistently people will always clamor for change. Tunakuja even kama vile wave inaleta current inaletanga samaki wengi alafu fisherman mwenye kona ile nini ndio anazipata. So for us to understand, because also part of what we're trying to do is rethink the entire system so that it's not hijackable.
Yes.
But it takes a lot of organization and leadership. I don't know why tunaogopa your word.
Najua your story, because I saw someone had tweeted that we don't want leaders because they can be compromised. And then I was like, if the leaders can be compromised, then they were not great leaders. Because this is it. If someone wants to be the president of Kenya, this person is going to be controlling trillions.
Right.
So if you can be manipulated, that means hawezi
control trillions at all.
Utaiba unajuaje? All these presidents have stolen, so why don't I also so hatuwezi sema. And if the movement believes in something, then the movement should let the person who's been compromised
atoke.
Like ulikuwa leader wetu because we thought you stood for this. Since you don't stand for this,
and because also the movement can self-correct, like anybody who fell off the movement did not affect the movement in any way. So that's actually a part which also for safety, because a lot of people just and nobody takes care of your safety. Hakuna mtu anajali. Watu wanataka tu utoke ukiwa umeumia, for the story, for the rage bait, for the whatever, in terms of even for you to see the fruits. Because a lot of the things which people have been telling me is in a fight, a dog is better than a dead lion. Like you need to live to see the fruits of this thing.
Yes.
When it comes to that time, bro, right now I'm not going at this thing solo again. I will look for friends who are like-minded and tell them, listen, man, I trust you. I hope we all want the best for this country. I'm not safe and I don't want to bear this burden alone anymore. So kila mtu to organize in their respective aspects. You organize in community. That's why we've been saying go to that community level. Wefanya grao, wacha ku pay attention to what another person is doing, and then whatever it is that takes as we're changing the system to go to like ensure we are also in those places of influence.
Because this is a political fight.
It is.
Like I remember when the protest wa zikuwa zinaendelea kabisa. I remember nikiona interview ya Nadia Mokami. And because Nadia was in the front line. I think she attended the first 3 protests. And she'd say that this is not political, this is economic. And I remember thinking that the only reason she said that was because she knows Kenyans treat politics as this divisive thing. So you don't want to say this is a political fight because people might attack you. But basically this was a political fight because we are trying to change the politics of this country. The politics of bullshit, because that's what's been happening. Imekuwa tu ni bullshit and bullshit. Unaingia pale, you steal as much money as you can, and you become nini. So maybe pia I think around kuna hizo siku pia watu walikuwa wanasema nimelipwa because nilisema I felt like without leadership the movement was on its deathbed. And majuzi pia nimesema I feel like Ruto has figured us out. So wanachukuaje? Do you think he's figured us out?
He's figured the old Kenya out. But this new Kenya, that's why it will call for everybody's bravery. Because if people are coward at it because he's doing a campaign tour, atakuwa ameshinda. But right now, whatever is happening, bro, if you took me out today, it does nothing to the revolution. Nane is still going to happen. If you took whoever out, if you took 10, 100 people out, in fact, you're just fueling it. It's gotten to the point where now it's coming, and you can't figure out, nobody at this point, because the movement is still also very young, nobody can figure out what is it, where is it. It's just moving. It's a thing you can't help. As far as kawaida politics go, he's figured it out. He knows if he's deployed police, wako like itakuwa hivi, every once in a while you play Garia. But unakumbuka, watu bado hata wajaanza, tech bros bado wajaanza kunini. Bado watu wajafanya the digital revolution. Imekuwa tu watu wanaongea saizi. Now you're sending goons to the streets. When people say we are not gonna go to the streets, you want us now to take care of this using technology. The thing will crumble. Watu wanafikiria ati hapa kuna loss. Watu wakiingia pale waanze kucheza na government payroll, waanze kucheza na KRA, waanze kucheza na nini, it will be even messier. So it's not gotten to that point yet. So nobody has figured it out. Nobody can claim and say that ati now we know where the thing is. That's why I'm like, even when people talk about leadership, it's a thing which you don't know how you lead, because the old guards are playing their old politics, trying to pin it on this movement, trying to hire goons and do those kinds of things. But whatever this movement is, it's a thing which nobody even in the movement can explain. Which is like, we know we want a better Kenya, we know we want a better country, as a total overhaul of the system. And so yes, part of it political, part of it economical, part of it social, but it's a thing that's happening that you can't box. That's my opinion of it.
Nane what tuna expect nini? Because nane ni next week on Thursday. Yes? Okay. So tuna expect nini?
What
should happen on this day? Because I've heard people say we are trying to achieve
Tahrir Square.
Yes. So where is this square? Is it in the middle of Tao?
Again, what wataipata? Unaona, that's what even people are doing on the spaces, trying to see, are people going to march to State House? Are people going to march to Uhuru Park? People going to sit in town? But also, part of what we're trying to do is ensure not people don't die. So mi ndaiangalia tu. And again, the thing about this being leaderless, utaka hivi chini kuna mtu tu atatoa, you follow the best idea. Mimi naangalianga hivi niko like, oh yeah, this looks like the best idea, so I'll follow it. And I never mi najuanga tu kama kesho ni maandamano, that's all I know. I don't know where it's gonna be. I'm like, nitaka hivi nione, ni pale, let's go, and we go and you activate there. But the goal is, we know that the goal is to have maybe 1 million people. And if people achieve 1 million people, bro, Tahrir Square will be wherever. So people are supposed to be hosted and those kinds of things. You've seen those circulars going on. I really can't speak on the expectation, but once we know, because we know that Tahrir Square is a blueprint, if that thing is achieved, then as a country, we can sit down and rethink the entire system. If not, which I highly doubt, I know it will happen. So I don't doubt that Nane won't happen. I know it is going to happen. But if it does not happen... If it does not happen, if it does not happen, then that's when now we want to start thinking about these things politically. But not even if even if it doesn't, because again ni kitu tu inasonga, because even if you go back into the politics of it, people have awoken, those kinds of things, people now have thought the entire process. It's a different kind of Kenya we're dealing with.
Niaje huu ni Rapture the Scientist hapa hivi live and director. Kabla show iendelee, remember row 1 and cut 3 Rapture the Scientist row 1 and cut 3 sasa iko live pale hivi ikonini.live, ingia pale, ni only 500 shillings.
Na hizi nini majuzi the president was where he was in Mombasa,
yeah, on the coast, yeah,
and he still say that there are no extrajudicial killings. So ikitu, what do you think? Like
sio maana tunasema tutaifix kwa sababu sisi tunajua ikono ziko. Tunajua there's a comrade who left this recent protest has been found in city.
Then Thursday
juzi that has showed up in city, and the thing they're saying is geo mob justice. You know those kinds of things.
Yeah, I know.
They're very heartbreaking. And now you feel like now people are cheza in Kamari with people's lives. People are showing up in different clothes than what they went out with. Those kinds of things. So tunasema basi kama imekataa, we'll fix it for you. Because saizi we're the ones who are playing police, we're the ones who are bringing evidence, we're the ones who are burying people, taking people to hospital, taking care of it's just a lot. So tumesema haya juu imewashinda, haya now let's do it collectively. Let us rethink the entire system.
Yeah, because you ndio kitu funny, like I think it was on Citizen, walikuwa nasema the bodies are being booked for accidents. Alafu I saw Hanifa say that there are like 50 unidentified bodies
in city.
Yes. And then the president still stands and says hakuna nini extrajudicial.
So maybe jui kwa sababu anapata bogus intelligence.
But it's the
thing. Yeah, that's what we are saying. He should do better. Then hire a better team for intelligence. So I can't excuse ignorance in Gava. Because he has, again, he said he has all the machinery. He could shut down the internet. So if he can shut it down, it means he can get anything he wants from in there. Because he can hire the best expert. He can hire the best whatever. So I don't excuse ignorance in Gava.
Alafu hii cabinet yake umeonaje?
Cabinet negasia, kuna cabinet hapa. And that's what I'm saying. They think they figured it out. Because they're playing opposite, they're playing ile politics ya kitambo. Wanafikiria ni kama and that's why you even see billboards on peace. Do you want peace, not war? And the country is not at war. Watu wanasema tu just do the right thing. Tutaki tu mkue wezi, hatutaki mfanye nini, hatutaki hata hiyo seat. Wangekuwa wanafanya hiyo kitu, this would not have happened if they had not shoved 23-24 finance bill, because the shock effects are still here. Then wanataka kuongeza hii. They think that it's about political factions, and that's why I think they get it wrong kabisa, because we said dissolve, do not reshuffle, because there's people who are clean, people who don't have graft cases, people who've never been implicated in stealing or murder or whatnot, that proper technocrats who are not in the cabinet,
people who also not been accused of selling drugs.
Clean people. So tukika hivi tuko tu like clearly there's no goodwill over here. There's no absolutely no goodwill. So I don't have any. We hope that the legislative class is going to take care of this, but if we know they don't.
See, they've already started going through those
trails.
Campaigns.
Yes, imerudi.
Kuria Kimani, his name is Kuria Kimani. He hired some bodabodas.
Yes, wakamrudisha na akasema ile kitu ya mwe kama kuna mtu alifanya nimemsamee. Again, because people are languishing in poverty and you throw a few notes, people are going to take it. So I think if they still keep on politicking, wanacheza mazena youth. Najua youth wako na very low opportunity cost. Watajionea tu.
Because hapo ni nini. Alafu kwanza nilikuwa nataka tubonge juu like education ya some of these CSs. Africa ni remind kuna kitu sikukuuliza. So Maranda ulienda kitoka na which grade?
I got an A-. Nilianguka math na CRE. Nilipata B math na nilipata B plus CRE. Siku tulikuwa nafanya math both days because it was one of my best subjects in primary school, but through high school I started flunking. Both days when we need, I just panicked a good one and I was very sick. Hiyo siku nilikuwa mazee tricky, nilijua tu kuisha.
Math has always been the easiest subject for me. So hiyo silikume sana because you have a very high grade, but getting a course without math na kwa hard ama?
No, it was easy. It was easy because I got an A- for like 79 or 80. So it was fairly, ulikuwa na cut off, ungefanya vitu. Kulikuwa na access hapo hivyo.
Because hiyo nini. Alafu pia kuna kitu school is you said that at Alliance kulikuwa na school cell. So what do you mean by this?
Hiyo ilikuwa place fulani yenye tu hata si watu wengi waliaenda. Kwa tena wale warui kwa place tu hapo when I come sijui ma potatoes or nini, it's like a proper looking like mabati structure yenye kuna tu grills, alafu unasitiwa hapo unagadiwa na wochi. So mimi nilikaa hapo
for how long?
For a night.
Yeah. On a bed at least.
Mazee ulikuwa unakaa hapo, ilikuwa proper
part of the things that child abuse.
Yeah, kabisa. Part of the things that might need to be fixed.
Mimi nimeshtuka sana Jona alliance. Damn. Alafu now cause the story imekuwa some of these CSs their education is questionable. To be specific, Joho. Education yake ni questionable, but you also reminded me something that you said that I found to be super interesting. Okay, for the record tunajua Joho amejitetea akasema he got a D-, but he has 2 degrees.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
But kuna kitu moja ulisema Kenya push book smart sana more than street smart.
Yeah.
And then ukasema like if someone is street smart they can figure out the books. You know Joho is street smart.
Yeah.
And so do you think he can figure it out? Because mining is such a powerful docket.
But if you think about it, and that's why we're saying this system has to be overhauled. As it is right now, he might, because he has the money and influence. So he might say, this mine over here is mine, or whoever controls it, toka.
Yeah.
But in the system which we are hoping for, is people who have the best interest of the country at heart are the people who are going to run them. But right now, bro, hata mimi naweza kuwa prime cabinet secretary. This system that's working the way it is, I can be anything. But what we are saying for the Kenya we are pushing for, let the most qualified people do the things which they are most qualified for. Tunataka if you're usipate daktari ni manager wa hospitali. Kwa nini? Patia mtu mwenye amesoma hiyo, public finance and public management and finance.
Yes.
Then what you do for the doctors is you pay them better. So usirushe pasta ana head shule. What do you know about kwa head of surgery, but wacha management, mambo ya stima wacha watu wa stima. Know, like those kinds of things. In the Kenya we're trying to imagine is a Kenya where people will work in merit. If you're in management, you'll do the right thing, but also with proven track record of leadership and the best goodwill of the interest of the country at heart, but also be a place where all of us, have equal opportunity, and where systems work such that they're not dependent on the integrity or character of one individual. They work just because systems work. Because I think inakuwaga shida na hii country, like no one has the country's best interest. Yes. They like comparing us to Singapore. I don't know if you saw, kuna mtu alishare a video of a Singapore leader talking. And he said, according to him, before you become a politician, you have to look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I honest? Right.
And then he said, if you're not honest, you should not become a politician. Politics za Kenya are some of the most dishonest motherfuckers you'll ever meet anywhere. So hawezi simama then as a president and tell us you're comparing us to Singapore, because these are 2 countries that are coming from very different backgrounds. It's the same way as the Japanese sort of politics.
Yes.
Japan has wanaitwa nini? Yakuza. Those are criminals. But ikikam to their politics, inakuwaka politics of honesty. I remember there's a time where kulikuwa na this story that nuclear ilikuwa imeleak. I think from the Toko something. There's a nuclear plant. And one of the political leaders of Japan went there without a mask and without any gear, just to show people that it's safe.
Yes.
Do you think Moses Kuria would do that?
Bro. Huku ikisemekana imeleak, kwanza toka tuko nchi. Inamaanisha ilianza kuleak last week. Whistleblower ndio amesema sahi.
So unaona hiyo nini hiyo, do you see us getting there? Because I'm still worried. The crowds I'm seeing are making me worried, because I feel like people are so easily fooled.
It's very true. But if we get like from the young people I've met, if we make it into the legislative chamber, this country is going to change. Like, and I'm saying this without fear of contradiction. The people I've marched with on the streets, how smart they are, how committed to changing their communities, because I've met people who are changing. Hao ni watu wanafanyia communities kazi. Hakuna ati sijui wametokea tu out of nowhere. Yeah, but of course, as you've said, crowds are easily fooled. But then that's why the overhaul needs to happen. Na tuingia time, but we're still off of this high before we now recline back to our tribal allegiances and those kinds of things. Yeah.
Because pia swali ingine itakuwa ni if we are to now start mobilizing politically, don't you think it's too close to the election? Like I feel like kama hatujaanza saa hizi kuipata itakuwa hard. Because remember Ruto, I always give the example of Ruto alipanda juu ya gari in 2013. So he'd been campaigning for 10 years before he became president. So if you want to dent this guy, like who dent him right now? Like, just tell me, who do you think would run against this guy and win? Because there's no one on top of a car. Politically,
we don't have to be on top of a car. The way I see it, where it's at. If we went for an election next week, he would really struggle, bana.
But against two, because kumbuka sisi tuko na ujinga, hatutaki. Number one, we are saying we don't want leaders. So any one of us shows up, tutamgonga nyundo arudi chini. Number two, tunasema we want leaders we've never heard of before. And that's going to be really hard to sell in that remote village. And you need that remote village.
Is that hapo ndio inatoka?
So
kuna wasaneza mrarua.
Ama hata mimi mwenyewe naweza kuuliza, if a leader who's run before shows up and it's them against Ruto, what's happening that day? Are you staying at home, or are you voting for that guy, the other guy? Because remember, the other guy has never been president.
A guy like who? Like Kalonzo?
Yeah, Kalonzo.
Or Martha
Karua. Who else could I think of?
Raila.
I think Raila's run is gone.
Yes, nataka kuenda hiyo.
Kansa yote ya nini? Ameenda nayo.
Wamemrushia.
Kansa yote ya Kenya Kwanza. That's why wamempatia finance. Because they know finance is fucked up. So yeah, I was thinking of Kalonzo, Martha Karua.
But you know those are old guys. Na feeling kama mi hata sitaki kufikiria wase.
Yeah.
Mi hata nafikiria.
Anatoka wapi?
Hata mimi naweza mrarua.
Mwingine anatoka wapi?
Hata mimi naweza rarua Ruto tukienda elections next week.
But hawa jinga atakupea. Na bayo jinga na average Kenyan. Wakenya kwangu wagani wajinga. Because how this fight became a fight against Hanifa and Boniface Mwangi and even you has never made sense.
But siasa ni ground tu unaingia. Kenya unaenda una convince unafanya groundwork yako pia. So I believe just even if we were to do it, ukipiga tu ground vizuri. The way it is right now. Anaweza struggle. They are good leaders bro. Na wase wako na ground. Huko nje. Mimi nimeona vijana hata tuonge tu bunge. Maimpeos chapa vijana wenye sahi wako kwa ground. And that's why I'm saying like right now, you know, them they might have the thing of money.
Yes.
But if we think about it in terms of that kind of thing, there's people who could. I totally believe this. I don't want to speak for them. What I mean, onge for the person I can account for. Tukiingia ground hivi.
Okay.
Tukipatiwa time naweza mrarua.
Yeah, and nini things that you'd change if you are either in parliament ama ungekuwa nini? What's one of the first things you change?
Sort out education.
Kuzungusema like one of the easiest ministries for me would be the Ministry for Youth.
Yes.
Cultural affairs and social economy.
Yes.
Creative economy.
Sijua kina agenda guys.
Creative
education.
Economy. Yeah, Murkomen.
Yes.
Because Musemaga Murkomen, don't even lose sleep.
Yeah.
First thing, cheaper internet.
Yes.
Then fuck off.
Yeah.
People will figure it out.
Yeah.
Internet is so powerful.
Watasotio kitu.
But these people want to start whatever, like he
already
started a football tournament. Like, what the fuck is the football tournament about?
Hiyo kitu watu wanapanganga peke yao. If you leave people unsupervised, wataenda ligi ndogo.
Just give us fast internet. Fuck off. Like saizi anafaa kwa watu wana have meetings with the CEO wa Safaricom na CEO wa
Starlink wa sortizi vitu waseme
Starlink huko. Story kuisha ni how do we push down the price of internet?
Absolutely.
And fuck people.
But now for me what I would need so that we have a social conscience, I would change education. Probably replace religious studies. Just start teaching critical thinking mapema.
Okay.
Teach ethics and justice mapema. Remove whatever this course curriculum we have for history. Teach history as it is. So we know where we're coming from and now where we're going. Make education free and affordable.
Because when you remind, there's something you say that Kenya organ the education of retention. It's all about retaining information.
That's
never
all
about
that's
understanding it.
rewarded apana. All you just need is regurgitate. So shika tu alafu endo itame kwa paper, then they will call you smart. So now you're susceptible to a lot of propaganda and misinformation.
Because critical thinking is very important.
Kabisa.
Like, and this is the interesting thing. Do you know that what you've just said has lost you like 10,000 votes?
Oh, for
When
sure.
you tell Kenyans that you're going to abolish religious education, they get mad. And I always say, do you know that your great-great-grandfather did not believe in any of the religions that you believe in? And you believe that person went to hell? And this is where critical thinking comes in. Like, I always look at Christianity and I'm like, this thing has been here for, let's say, 2,000 years. If it took 1900 years for an all-powerful God to make the information reach your great-great-grandfather, then it should take 1900 years for you to accept that, like Kenya hivyo. So we need critical thinking.
That ethics and justice.
Yes.
Bring those units, and even it's not necessarily to abolish. Don't give it as much prevalence
as
it is right now. Yenye unafanya hiki tu ikaene kama it's like
it.
we are a theocracy, and again this is also more politics, because remember the politicians had no voice. The only place they would speak is in churches and funerals. Yes, that's the only place where you could speak as a politician. So we've over glorified, na ndio maana ukiona occupy churches mobili akifanywa kitu inakuwa it's a different kind of ball game. So that's, I mean, sort out education, sort out that Ministry of Culture, have more people creating the creative economy, keep it going. Then that creates at a single focus. I think if I were to do it in a term, I would not focus on the externals. Kisha first of all, whatever ODS debt, shika majama, city kwa jela, chukua yo pesa, slap those Bretton Woods organizations, kwendeni huko. Of course they'll try to assassinate you as a person, but in one term unaensure mazee umeduyo kitu unakafunga kwa umeenda. And you just hope that, again, when you're running advertisements, it's advertisements that communicate the collective conscience we want for the Kenya we want. Hizo ndio, achana na hizi ads sijui ati umelaunch dam unaka hivi ukirun ad mpaka unashanga proud to be a Kenyan. Restore that patriotism. Those are the kind of ads I would run as a government.
Ulicheki hii time kulikuwa na controversy. What's his name? Mr. Beast came to Kenya.
Yes, akajenga
52 boreholes. No press conference.
Yes.
The president of the Republic of Kenya travels to go and commission one port. I'm even calling it a
dam. Kakitu.
A borehole. Like, does this make sense?
Wanacheza politics.
Like Mr. Beast is doing more for Kenya than wewe. And you have all the power.
So that part of it also just ensure maybe more progressively president asikwe maybe a political person. Asikwe may capture legislation. It's proper separation of powers.
I think if you love the country enough, you'd let the legislature be free.
Yes.
You tell them, like, if it's great ideas, support.
You want them to act in the best country interest of the country.
Let's kuna great ideas. But here Kenya inakuaga like any idea. Because another thing that I always say that I'd change in this country, I'd try and study India.
Right.
The Indian economy right now is one of the fastest growing. I think ishapita Britain ikikam to GDP, if I'm not wrong.
Of course lazima wakuwe wamepita Britain kwa sababu.
And you know how they did it? Part of it was medicine. A lot of Kenyans tukiwa wagonjwa, where do we go?
India.
Have you ever asked yourself, and this one I always pose it as a challenge to these governors, why is there no hospital in Kenya that is above the rest? Ikikam to public. Ikikam to private, kuna debate katikati ya
for
Aga
cancer,
Khan
this
versus,
for Nini, this,
Yes, Aga Khan versus Nairobi hospital. We can say, but still, even with those hospitals, hakuna ile moja ilo kienda, unakuaga like hapa, every doctor is going to act the way they're supposed to act.
Right.
There's always going to be that tired doctor who is. But kwa nini hakuna one public hospital in any county? And what this would do is it would bring local tourism.
Yes.
Ile people move from this
Kisumu,
county.
tunaenda Kitale for specialized treatment.
For special treatment.
Yes.
And you create an economy.
Absolutely.
And what you do is, in the process, like, what if we had buses that is inapeleka wasi from hapa to hapa.
Yeah.
What if we had some another open bus kama zizi za kina London ya land Kisumu inakupeleka around.
Right.
There are so many opportunities that can come from easy ideas.
But sisi ni serial accumulators.
Yeah.
All I want to do is nini for my own. That's the thing. But also we have a middle class problem where you privatize public problems.
Yes.
So aita develop kwa sababu utapeleka nyanyako Aga Khan. Hapana, lazima ikuwe Kenyatta and we demand accountability for that Kenyatta hospital. Ndio tuingie hadi ma dispensary.
Yeah.
The people where I wouldn't study India necessarily for health. Cuba figured out health.
Yes.
Our say madaktari dunia yote wanaenda kutrain wa Cuba.
Yeah. Nishaibongajua Cuba and diabetes. One injection every 5 years.
Yeah. So it's tricky. So if we do those kinds of things, but of course the powers that be and the people we are simping, because we are serial accumulators. If you're promised 1 trillion, bro, unaweza uza watu mbaya. But sasa unakaa hivi chini, and that's why you sit down and you say, we want to change this country, we want to change the whole thing. Unasema maze, we'll do whatever it takes. And you do exactly whatever it takes.
Let me bring up Cuba. What happened to the Cuban doctors wala walikuwa hapa Kenya?
And I really didn't follow up on that because I also was nilikuwa like, kwa nini mnapatia wase hiyo chance instead of
nini? Kitu funny ni the fact that I knew about Cuban doctors, when I had specifically Cuban doctors, I wanted them in, not because of anything, but
because of the level of training.
The level of training, the level of professionalism. Because najua pia being in a communist system, they're not allowed to fuck up.
Yeah.
Kenyan doctors are allowed to fuck up.
Yeah.
Majuzi, I had certain Iko Nini fan and a very big supporter of the show, and it was Evans Njogu.
Yeah.
And he was telling us of how his mom was diagnosed with cancer. Was it on May 13th?
Yeah.
And by June 23rd, she was dead. June 24th. And all this time she'd been seeing doctors. But because doctors in Kenya are allowed to get away with
biashara tu.
Wachiki.
Yeah.
So when I had the Cuban doctors, I was like, because Cuba, watu wajui juu yake, there's free medical care. There is so much good medicine that Shaiskiaga nini, there's a joke I always make that if you hear that your girl is cheating on you with a Cuban man, start crying.
Yes.
Shaiskiaga story like one of the most surgeries done in Cuba ni penile
mazel. Kwisha ujue warudi.
Because that's how much they figured out medicine.
Niongeze hii kitu. Give me more inches.
Yes.
You know.
Sisi hapa hata saizi usikia Kenya kuna penile and utaenda.
Wezi bana.
Doctor anaenda pale akufanye uanze kupina raha.
Acha ni baki na 0.5 inches yangu. Yeah.
So it's interesting umetaja Cuba. Medicine.
Yes.
I feel like one county that figures it out is going to have Kenyans flocking there.
Kabisa.
That means the hotel suko zitaja. Alafu apart from that, Tanzanians, Ugandans, the Rwandese.
But we never tuionangi hivo. Si tunataka tutakula nini leo. Kila mtu anataka kuluta hapa. How much can I loot?
Because this would be like unaenda na whisper kwa msee wa hotels. Sasa if you're a corrupt person and you want to do it the right way, basi because even when Americans are corrupt,
wait sana wanazitanga tu gerrymandering, lobbying, but very 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 corrupt.
So this is I'm going to build the best hospital in East Africa.
Yes, itakuja
hapa. We're going to need hotels.
Yes.
So now all of a sudden, I'm building a hotel.
Yes.
Before then eventually nikibuildi hosi for like, public interest, the average person who's getting service won't care that I have a hotel. That random strangers, not government business, it's some random Rwandese has come to sleep in my hotel. Why? Because his relative is getting treated in my hospital. But these assholes would rather take away from the public.
Yote wajenge hotel hapo ikae hapo
iko empty. Kwa sasa hotel pia
right. Money is not flowing enough for them to live in those hotels. So
so kuna hizo ideas. Which simple idea would you execute as a governor? Kustumia inakuwaga hiyo medicine, hospitals,
water and garbage collection. That is a hot mess. Nairobi has an artificial water problem. We don't have a proper water problem. Tengeneza hiyo sort of drainage inamaanisha the lives of the people in the informal settlements itakuwa higher. If I sort out garbage for them, I don't fikiria kuna.
Do you see him coming back? Because
Nairobi being
Nairobi governor has
ever
run for 2 terms.
Nairobi being Nairobi
has ever won 2 terms.
Nairobi being Nairobi. What was people change akili? Bro, But he's messed up. Remember, throughout this whole process, the only thing he came back to say is, remember, tulikuwa Malindi, tulikuwa Diani, tulikuwa Costo, tulikuwa tunafunga books, alafu so tukakam, alafu amepotea. Just say anything else to provide support for those guys for Kware. It's a whole shit show. Yeah.
You're the Nairobi governor. Unaenda Malindi kufanya nini?
Unaenda kudunini
unafaa kunaambia watu Nairobi
tuko pahali hapa,
everything is here
hapa. Unaonyesha, look at this, there's a hideaway guys that you guys don't know, iko hapa. Look at what we've done with 0.4 acres. Look at this but hakuna watu wanatakanga utakula pesa aje
na nini. Na hii story ingine pia like according to wewe, do you feel it's actually true that he's paid Raila for him to stay as governor? Because inasemekanaga the whatever is ODM majority, the MCAs, why is he still governor considering he's not popular on the ground right now? And ODM wako na majority ya kumtoa. Kwa nini nafikiria jai kwa impeach?
Because legislators are lazy na hata wako na uchafu. That MCA level utapata wako so corrupt that hata yeye akona staff hanging over their heads. Wako like, what do you mean? It's either or. So hakuna mse msafi hapo. Oja impeachana, I don't even think, I think that's too complicated. Wote tu ni wachafu. That hakuna enough people with quorum that don't have sijui something that being need against them. But if that's what they're doing, wanacheza tu siasa.
Kuna kitu pia nilifind ulisema interesting sana ile like tunanid kutoka from the politics of respectability. Where we just respect someone.
Because they're someone.
It's bullshit. And then of course history, personality, politics.
Yes.
But even more profound thing that you said was tukimalizia ni vile uli describe no, I don't know, was it you who described history at the Luo community where you find that it's one person who's successful. Farming.
Yes, because of fishing.
That thing was nini? Unaweza explain yourself hiyo kitu? Because I was like, shit. Nilikuwa nakusikiza nikiwa kwa club karibu niambia msishukisha zile za nani anaitwa nani? Oguda. Nishukisha hapo.
There, I want to see where the balance is.
Because if you see, that was really good.
Yeah, if you think about tribally, the people who farm, what when you wanalima wanajua there's seasons. The seasons that the farming takes this long, and this is how long we expect harvest, and this is what the granaries look like. So they don't play around with whatever it is. And you'd find mostly those are guys from the highlands and nini. But as River Lake Nilots, our main activity, of course we started farming very recently, our main activity is fishing. Fishing ni capture harvest. Na ingianga pale ndani tashika hizo vitu alafu natoka nazo nje. So I know that I will always go and pick and come. Even if you think about even investment wise, wajaka watu na we're not known to be the best investors. Tunaishingi very in the moment because we know we will find it tomorrow. If you think about it, it's a thing that's permeated even into our psyche, where kama firstborn anadupoa, also because we're very generous as well. Firstborn akidupoa, wase wengine wanajua wote tutaeducatiwa na huyu, so we come and pluck. That aspect of time and respecting the process kabisa, I think has also translated, I don't know how true it is, but that's just my analysis, has translated also in the way we think about it socially, in our social conscience. That's how I see it.
I found that to be nini because unita capture harvest
because unajua tu naipata hapa saizi huwezi panda fish inakuanga tu hapo ndani, unajua tu nikienda pale nitapata hiyo samaki, but kuna umse lazima alime,
because I think hiyo capture harvest ndio ilikam ikatupatia baba quotes. We knew there's always going to be this one guy,
na tutaenda tutatoa leaders kwa the royal family
we get from this one guy, and in the process he might have started out as good for the community, but he ended up bad for the community because like even right now the fact that I'm a joint gava inamaanisha he's legalized corruption, legalized incompetence, legalized, and hapo amepatia Ruto a very high chance of a second term. Because me, I felt like Ruto was a one-term president for very long. Right now, if you ask me, I'm 50-50 because of Nini. But the politics, you know, the capture harvest.
Like forming Nini around a cult. But to be fair, I can't take it away from Raila Odinga. He's also pulled his weight.
Yeah,
at,
yeah,
at
I
his
know.
age, I disagree. He was very he's done his thing. But also can we have many people? Let's
Yes,
not
doing the
organize
same.
around a cult.
Yes.
Ndio pia ukifeel disappointed kwa sababu saizi kuna watu hata wakuvotia Raila. Kwa like, oh, Raila has disappointed us.
Kuna wasekuwa nauliza hukumvoti
So alimekudisappoint aje. But so if you think about it, if it were many people, just the way we are saying for this movement, the advantage is ule ame to betray kwenda huko dogi wewe, and then you move on as though he's nothing. Ideally that's how
Osama sharudishwa kweli. Am I still on the outside?
Miss Jui, if there's one thing I've said, I won't participate in these things because you know the thing about the internet, the glory, they'll give it to you, but also be ready when they come for it. And you've seen it with people kabisa. May I learned it, I was like, continue. I don't focus on people. For me is ideology.
Kunole dem alishtuliwa. What was her name? You know the girl who came out, she was like, Baba, stay at home.
Yes, Anita.
She's called Anita.
Yes.
People went for her mpaka she disappeared.
But that's the thing where I'm like, again.
And there was nothing wrong
again,
with
and that's the thing which I'm here to. I feel like is kind of wrong with how we approach things. Nimtoi.
Yes.
Anita is early 20s. If you shove a camera into this person's face and ask them what's next for the country, you're giving them the idea that people don't know.
Yeah.
And they will clamor. The true story is they didn't even try to form that party. It was one person, it was a video. Like, I know them because they're my friends personally. But in my head, I'm like, hata ukiwa first year mtu angekuuliza kitu kama register party kesho. So we have
nothing wrong with them registering.
That's what I was saying. If we're truly fighting for a true democracy, wacha waunde, tuseme hapana ipati yenyu ni ya ujinga, wacha si tuunde yetu tutengeneze. But no, nobody wants to take initiative. Such that if you see people taking initiative, you feel threatened. You feel threatened in your mediocrity and you're not even doing anything.
You've been paid.
Kabisa. Wacha ikae. Hizi stories, ukizisikia utachizi. Utachizi. So I never pay mind to any of those. And I reach out to those people. I'm like, please don't give up. Don't listen to the public that does not care, one, for your wellness, for your life, but also for theirs. Wako tu hapo for the rage bait. A lot of them is, but because if you've been on the ground, watu kwa grao wanatambua watu wamekuwa kwa grao kabisa, and the camaraderie and the unity that's on the ground. Si easy vita watu wanapigana online, but on the ground, when those people lob the tear gas, people take care of each other. So
because kuna zile accusations that I normally see online. Because that's why nimekuwa nikisema Twitter will play if we end up if you go back to the old politics. I'm going to blame Twitter. And because I feel like Twitter is the one place where people on the same side will fight you paka ushindwe, like, are we fighting the government?
It's the only place where you have to be reminded who the enemy is.
Yes. Like Twitter, like unapataga like watu wana attack bonini zile za umse. Okay, unasema amelipwa. Who will pay you to stand? Simama hapa nikupige tear gas. Remember that time?
Yes.
Because alichapwa
hapa. Yes, kabisa.
That thing could have blown up in his face. Kabisa. It could have what? Ilibidi ende hosi. Unasema alilipwa.
Nani angelipa hiyo bill?
Afu nasema the same way the president nasema Ford Foundation imelipa watu. Wapi?
But imelipa gava yake. Nani aliorganize climate summit ya last year? Independent journalism, watu walikuwa wanataka namo. Without funding utakavaje one of the biggest Pandora Papers ingetoka wapi? So people bring down and Boni once told me this one time after that concert when I was still being drugged. Kamuliza, Boni, how do you deal with hate? Kaniambia a beautiful saying in Kikuyu that translates into the tree that has most fruit is the one that gets thrown out the most stones. Akaniambia hata ukienda home leo, you've seen how successful this concert was, utapata kuna mtu anahate on hii concert.
So ilikuwa
and it's still even happening.
Kitu ilikuwa funny and with this the person I even want to invite him for a second time so that we can argue on camera. Because msali hate on hiyo concert ilikuwa Gaidho. So Gaidho was saying these celebs have been paid, and I was there like, maybe Gaidho still thinks these celebrities were Kenya are paid 100,000.
You know,
these motherfuckers, some of them are paid over 1 million, 2 million a concert. They showed up there for free. They're paid so much money. There's a celebrity who came here. Akatupatia story of how he's invited for weddings. And asha invitiwa kwa wedding, akalipua, alikuwa nafaa kulipua, was it $15,000? He ended up being given 20,000. Na alilipua ati 20,000 because he was asked to cut short his performance.
Yes, because it's an inconvenience.
So since wali feel like they respect him so much and they felt like he was offended, they added him more money.
Right.
Alafu unaniambia so when you're fighting these celebrities and they're like, oh shit, we've lost.
Tumepoteza hiyo plot kwa sawa anacheka. Kumbuka pia bloggers wa gava wako hapo to hype that thing.
Yes, kama nani Mutai has been enjoying that.
That's what me I've said. I preserve my insults for government bloggers and racists.
Yeah.
Kwa hiyo mimi nikaa kuna mtu sita bembeleza. If I see a government blogger like this looking for our attention, nitakanyaga.
Because Mutai has fun with this. Because Mutai nakumbuka like when you find, still I'll go back to Guy though, someone I respect.
Yeah.
He's attacking Hanifa. You find Mutai there.
Yes. Utawapata wote tu.
Vile Mutai ni government damu.
Yes.
Hata kwaje, if you're on the same side with him,
yes,
it's to show you you're doing something wrong.
Yes.
But
so I mean, that infighting, week 1, week 2 after I was dragged, I was like, now I'm clear about what it is that I want to do. If people catch up with it later, let them catch up with it later. But I am not bowing down to any, because also YouTube Twitter is driven by rage. So there's a lot of rage. Who's going to break down? Who's going to break the most disappointing news first? That's why unapata watu wana rush to announce the grotesque things. But I mean, if you're clear in your head and in your heart, you're doing the right thing. And the people I've met, these people are so clear. These people are so committed to their vision. These people are, it's unshakable. I mean, that's where I'm at. Yeah.
Okay, because me nilisema, I was on record. I think I even told you before.
Yeah.
I told you when I was asked, as it kunaongea pa na kina Rapture.
Yeah.
And I said I felt like the Gen Z movement needs some leaders. And the leader that I put is not a Gen Z.
Yeah.
Because niliweka Boni. Lakini kasema pia na kutaka hapo. Nataka Hanifa. I said who else? Amerix, funny enough. Who else? Gaido.
Oh, that's where I saw the tweet come from, because I didn't see that episode. Oh, yes. Okay, yeah.
Gaido pia. Yeah. Even as much as he fights, you are fight. I'm like, this guy at some point he'll have to stop this bullshit. And no, we are all on the same side. You might not like someone on a personal level, because if you have evidence this person has been paid, toa like,
clicks.
When kuna time, I always give one example ya Boni. There's a time when Boni went on camera, alafu he called Mama Ngina a thief. And I was there thinking, this guy,
yes,
atafikaje home?
Yes, toto boaje.
And he still maintains na hiyo mpaka leo. So Uhuru atakulipa kutukana mamake. How does that make sense?
Yeah, so people keep on saying that, but a narrative has to be driven.
Yeah.
Lazima watu drive narrative, people have to be nini, but I wouldn't bundle people, because I would say organize with the people you trust.
Yeah.
Organize with the people you're in need with. So yeah, it's not bad.
Kila mtu leadership. Yeah. I was saying, so hiyo pia Masita Rusi nikamweka hapo, Wanjira neza msiti hapo, because we need to start. And we need to start now. I feel like if you are starting in 2027, I think even that's the same thing ile nani alisema. Kibe. Alisema in different words. But if you start in 2027, we are losing to these people. We need to start early enough. We need to start teaching people that this is not about your tribe. When Murkomen wears Gucci shoes, if your kid has no shoes, your kid still has no shoes.
Yes, absolutely.
When the president wears a belt worth 800,000 shillings, kama wewe umeshikilia belt yako na nini trouser, it's cause, so you can't, but
it's true, but I think that's still going on. I can't discount the fact that there's a lot of things happening, but also you can't go too far in the future. I'm sure tuone vile nane itaenda, then pole week at a time, because remember, civic education is still happening. And I think, and like, if there's one thing I believe in my heart, there's going to be a new crop of leaders that's coming. Bro, I've seen them. I have met them. I see how they organize. I see how people are moving online. We're in for such a good leadership treat. If all of us just stay true to the things that we're saying, we're in for such an amazing treat in terms of leadership.
For the voter, you get the leaders.
Tafadhali.
So Budacho, nimeshukuru sana.
Asante for having me.
Unanga nilikuambia nilikuwa nimebonga na KASMUEL akaniambia anataka kudu interview then ende pale, nikamwambia
kasema hii ukikuja
Iko Nini na kuaga
unakaa chini mnakaa and truly
tumechapa 3 hours.
No way.
I think this is the longest tushachapa.
Are you serious?
Tumechapa 3 hours.
Man.
Shukran.
Asante. Thank you for having me.
Mimi nikikuwa na ukiran for hii place ni tuani Langata jua kura yangu uko nayo. Because actually I don't know, niko nimesahau kuuliza hii. Sometimes when I see you talking, I feel like one of your biggest influences ni Fred Hampton. Is there any truth in that?
No, for sure, yes. Nasikiza watu wengi sana, but a lot of it I would say is it? I can't pin it to one person.
Yeah, because he was also young.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
yes,
younger,
yes.
but still he was young.
Yeah.
Alafu ile yako, you can't kill it. You can kill
Kill
the
a
revolutionary, but you
cannot
can't kill the revolution.
for sure.
Yeah, when you say that, I was like, Fred.
Yes. But for sure, kabisa.
Okay.
Bits and pieces. Because also you have to find people who went before you who said wise things, and also just develop whatever it is your politic is, and then now you find flowery words for it. Yeah,
but good luck.
Asante.
Kiran for seat. Kama iko nini fanu msa kiran, patie kura, usianze ujinga ati. Kumbe all along you wanted to be. Leaders have to step up.
Hakuna cha kumbe all along, and I've never been apologetic about this.
Yeah.
After 2022, I said I will be in politics.
Yeah.
After school, I said I would be in politics. Just that just now, I don't think the politics is the main agenda.
Yeah.
But if there's anything that I'm certain is I will toss myself into the political arena.
Hakuna
like niko unapologetic about it.
Kitu fani na mimi mwafusikuzia na kiburi. Hii kitu wasa wanadu ni politics. Hizi protest zote ni politics. Sijanganye si politics. Ni politics. Sijui kwa niona kubebi it's politics and it's important. We need to move away from the politics of bullshit.
The politics of change, yes.
Hii kuannounce kina Joho, Mbadi, Opio Wandai.
Watoi kupatikana kwa swamps or dedi.
Kurudisha, that's the politics.
Hizo ndo kitu inafanyika sahi. So you choose, is this what you want or not? And if not, we do something about it.
Because this politics normalized poverty.
Yeah.
That's why someone can come up with hustlers versus
dynasty, bana.
That's why someone can come up with telling you that having an iPhone and eating KFC
is a sin.
Is a sin, and it's something that should be looked down upon and frowned upon, because they want you to they've normalized poverty. This is the funny thing. That's why Musamaga, the campaign Mseka Raila, I think that's why he even missed out on the presidency. He was always poor. The people who've normalized poverty branded him as the lord of poverty and the lord of violence, and because this mtu akishaanza kukuambia atakupatia wheelbarrow. Do you know how much work you have to do for
you to
create
yield
wealth?
right?
What would it take for you to create wealth with a wheelbarrow?
Right. Very early mornings.
Like the most. Which business can you do with a wheelbarrow?
Bro, unless I know. Shipping money from offices.
Yes.
Hiyo inaweza kupatia do mob sana. Pia tusiongele wheelbarrow vibaya.
Yeah.
Unaweza umoka na wheelbarrow.
Sawa jo. Na tunamaliza hiyo omoka na wheelbarrow.
God damn it.
Tukimaliza ni episode 337 tukisema Iko Nini.
Iko Nini.